Everybody likes smart devices in their house. This can be our microwaves, our smart TVs, our lights, or even telling Alexa play our favorite song. You know that for all this to happen, each and every device needs a phone number. But well, in technology terms, this is an IP address. What is an IP address? An IP address, this is a numerical value or sometimes even letters that represent the digital address for your device. The video that you're watching right now on the device that you're holding, it needed an IP address for you to be able to watch this video. Your device needed an IP address to talk to YouTube, and YouTube talks back to your phone or your computer. That's how you're able to see this video. Do I even trust you that my device has an IP address? Easy. Onto your computer, if you're using a Windows computer, jump onto your screen and type in CMD. Type in CMD, pull up that screen. Onto your Windows screen, type in IP config, hit enter. And we have a whole bunch of numbers. We're only going to talk about these three at the bottom of the screen: the IPv4, the subnet mask, and the default gateway. So what is an IPv4 address? For today, let's just forget about the v4 part right here and just focus on the IP address. And we already defined what an IP address is, which are just numbers or sometimes numerical values. So we have the number 192.168.1.71 onto the screen, which represents the IP address. So this is the IP address for my computer. And what is the subnet mask? So the subnet mask, if you see, it looks so weird with 255.255.255 and 0. So what a subnet mask is, this is just used to divide the IP address into two portions. What are the two portions? So if you look at right here at the bottom, I have a network portion and I have a host portion. The network portion is just 192.168.1, and this is probably the same even for your house. And there is one thing you can notice: the 192.168.1 is probably the same as your network at your house if you followed along and typed in IP config. So why do we have 192.168.1 on all the devices? It's not on all the devices, but this is a private IP address. Private IPs, they do have a range, but today we're not going to go deep into that. Look out for that in the next video. So we'll get back to our IP address and see what we have right here. So like I said, this is the network portion of the IP, and this is the host portion of the IP, the 71. And what is the host? The host is the actual device that has that IP address. The other part of the IP address, the other part that we have is your subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0. And what the job of this thing right here, Mr. Subnet Mask, is so simple. Its whole job is just to divide the network portion that we have, the IP address that we have, into two portions, into your network portion and into your host portion. And that's it. That's all it does. Now, the other thing that we have is our default gateway. What is a default gateway, and why does it also have an IP address? Well, a default gateway, this is something that you're so familiar with. Okay, now this guy right here is our router. And all the devices that we have, be it your cell phone, be it your computer, or be it your TV, they get connected to the router. And whenever these devices try to get some information from the internet, say they try to get some information from YouTube, So with your devices, so this, let's say with your cell phone right here, you're trying to get some information from YouTube. You searched in what is an IP address. What happens as soon as you type in what is an IP address, what your cell phone does is it goes to the router. Let me get the drawing tool. Your cell phone will go to the router. It's already connected to the router. Then the router will go to YouTube.com and ask it what is an IP address, but it's more complicated than that. But this is the simplified version of it. Your cell phone will go to the router and say, hey router, what is an IP address? But because this okay, so now this guy that we have right here is our router. So what is the job of the router, which is the same thing as the default gateway? So this router is its own IP address as well, which it has right here. So the main job for this default gateway is for communication with the outside world, to the internet, whenever we ask it something. And why can't our cell phone just go straight to YouTube and ask it, hey YouTube, what is an IP address? So there is more processes involved as far as that, and watch out for that in the next video, where I'll talk about private IP addresses and public IP addresses. So in simple terms, whenever you're on your cell phone and you type in what is an IP address, and you're asking that on the YouTube search bar, what happens is whatever you send goes to your router, then the router transfers that straight to YouTube and say, hey YouTube, John is asking what is an IP address. YouTube will talk back to the router, then the router, because he's the only guy that knows your 192.168.1, will tell you back, hey, this is an IP address. They give you a list of videos that tells you what an IP address is. So that's all in simple terms. So in recap, we talked about an IP address, a subnet mask, and a default gateway. When they said an IP address, this is just a numerical value, or sometimes it can be letters that represents the digital address of the device that we're using. And in this case, we had 192.168.1.71, which was the IP address on my computer. And we have a subnet mask, and we say the main function of this subnet mask is literally just to divide this IP address into two portions. We'll have the network portion and the host portion. The host portion just represents the actual device that you're using, and the 192.168.1, this comes as a default from the gateway or whatever router that you're using. Then we talked about the default gateway, which is 255.255.255.0, and we say the default gateway, this is just the router that you have at your house, which is responsible for querying whatever questions that you have to whatever server you're trying to reach at. If it's YouTube, if it's Facebook, whatever server that you're trying to reach, the default gateway is what is responsible for all that. Thank you for watching this video. If you found value in this video, don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and watch out for more. Peace.